So the other night, I'm watching YouTube, and Tim Walz gets on the stage at the Democratic National Convention. He accepts the nominee to be the vice president, and he's giving his speech. It's a lovely speech. Everybody's happy with it. Everybody's cheering. They're all Democrats. Of course they would be. He starts talking about his family, and as he's talking about his family, the camera pans down to his kids. There's his daughter, there's his son, there's his wife. And as it pans over to him, his daughter's ecstatic. His wife's proud and happy. His son's in near tears. He's losing it. And I'm watching it going, oh, wow, the kid's emotional. And then the kids start, that's my dad. That's my dad. That's my dad. Now listen, his son, Gus, 17 years old, he's neurodivergent. And apparently he has a nonverbal learning disability. His parents, Tim and his wife, they don't see this as an obstacle for him. I love that. He's just Gus. He's just their son. And they love him, and they accept who he is, and they accept how he is, and they just take him for what he's worth. Now, as I said earlier, I think that sound was off, but as I said earlier, as I watched that clip, I was like, holy crap, that's like one of the most beautiful things I've seen. Here, they've taught their kid to be emotional. They've taught their kid that it's okay to be emotional. Now, I understand, sure, he's neurodivergent. I really don't care. When I first watched it, I had no idea about who he was or how he was built. It didn't matter to me. As a father, what I thought was, that's the dream. That's the stinking dream. That is the dream, to have your children be that proud of you. That they would cry, and that they would publicly cry out, yell out, that's my dad. That's the stinking dream. As a parent, you've made it when you've gotten there. Right? That we could be so vulnerable, with each other, that we could be so vulnerable in public, that we would be willing to, Now listen, Tim Walz running for vice president, of course there's lots to be proud of. He was governor of Minnesota, of course there's lots to be proud of. A lot of the work that he did, lots to be proud of. The guy served like 24 years or 25 years in the military, lots to be proud of. But that didn't stop Gus in that moment of expressing it. Now, as I said, it was, it's one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever seen. It is. And that kind of stuff, that gets to me. Man, that gets to me. I was watching clips tonight because, why not? And the caption was, it's never too late for a hug. And this guy was getting into his truck and he was driving off to work, and his kid goes running out in pajamas. Dad, Dad, Dad. His dad stops the truck. His dad gets out and says, okay, what do you need? You can't hear it, right? But it's like, you get the impression. He says, what's up? And the kid just opens his arms. Just wants a hug. It's beautiful. Like, we need, as families, we hear about family values all the time. This is the fruit of family values. When we're willing to be vulnerable like this, when we're willing to love like this, when we're willing to yell out to the world, I am proud of that guy. That is my dad, and I love that guy. And with tears streaming down your face, I don't care if he's neurodivergent or not. It means no difference to me. Honestly, it means no difference to me. I mean, it's entirely possible that with the way he's built, that it's easier for him to be emotional than it would be for some of us. That it's easier for him to be expressive like that than it would be for some of us. And what a blessing that is for him, that he's able to do it, That he's not worried about what it would look like. He's not worried about what the press would say. He's not worried about people like Coulter would say, or any of the other number of right-wing talking faces who had something awful to say about this when they thought it was going to get them some points and then quickly deleted it from Twitter. Right? When she said, talk about weird, showing a picture of a 17-year-old boy crying out of pride for his dad. This isn't weird. All right? This, what we saw with Gus Walz, that's not weird. I'll tell you, the weirdest thing about this for me, as a guy who is sitting in his chair, melting with you could feel, I was fighting it. I'm not as brave as Gus. I was fighting it. I was fighting those, don't you cry sitting on this couch, right? You could feel it in your jaw, right? But you could feel the emotion welling up behind your eyes. That's not the weird thing. Gus making this expression of love, being this proud, that's not weird. The weird thing is when people get upset by it, when people think they're going to score political points with it. Oh, look at this guy. What's going on here? This is weird. No, it's not weird. What's weird is that you think it's weird. What's weird when we see people offer an emotive response to a certain experience, to a certain situation. It's weird when we think that's weird. It's weird if we're not crying. It's weird when we're upset. It's weird when we're trying to score those points. But I'm going to go out. Please hear me out on this fully, okay? The other thing it's weird, again, as a dad who I cherish my kids. What I found weird was that Tim Walz didn't stop the speech right there, jump off stage, and go give that kid a big kiss. I thought that was a little weird. I did. I wouldn't have been able to stop myself. If I looked down and I saw Maya or Cam or Charlie or Nyla or all of them or some of them in tears because I'm on stage giving a speech because they're proud of me, if I saw them claiming me, I'm over. It's over. Like, the speech is done. I'm going to get off the stage for a few minutes. I may come back, but I'm getting off the stage because they need a hug. They're getting whether they need it or not. Maybe that's the wrong thing. They're getting a hug. They're getting my love. Right. Yeah, what was weird in that whole thing, the first thing that was weird in that whole thing is that Tim Walz didn't just stop everything right there, get off stage, and hug his kid. And, just tell those folks, I'll be right back. I got to go. I got something to do. I got to do this. That's weird. And what's really strange is when people can take a moment like this. When they can take a moment like this and they can try to turn it into something petty and demeaning. When they can take a moment like this and try to present it as though it's a knock against Tim Walz, that it's a problem. It's another reason why we shouldn't vote for people like this. That's weird. It's really weird. It's really weird that a person's heart could be so flippin' cold. And again, it wasn't just Coulter. There was others. It's really weird that human beings could be so cold. It's really weird that human beings could be so heartless. It's really weird that human beings could just be so vicious. We're not supposed to be that way. Right? We're supposed to be people of love. We're supposed to be people who deliver love. We're supposed to be people who work with love. We are supposed to be people who offer love. We are supposed to be people who receive love. We're supposed to be people who can recognize love. Not that crowd. That crowd sees love in action, unabated, unrestricted, raw. They see raw love being offered and being shared. They see raw, unadulterated love being shared. And they don't even know what it is. They can't even recognize it for its beauty. Folks, it doesn't matter who it is. If I see Trump's kids reacting to him like this, I'm not going to make fun of them. I'm not going to try to score points. I'm not going to make it a thing. And I would encourage all of you, not either, like, call it out. That is love. Good for them. Good for them. That is wonderful that they loved. That is wonderful that they're willing to do that. God. When we see love in action, be thankful. Right? That's what we should do. When we see love, raw, unadulterated love, like you saw from Gus Walz towards his dad, be thankful, because in that moment you are seeing, you are present, you are witness, you are experiencing something pure and precious and wonderful. You're seeing God right there. Amen.